At the height of this, several hundred people on both sides, protesters and counter-protesters, filled the streets. Phoenix police in a line wearing riot gear. Superintendent, is this worth it? I mean, all of this media storm, this battle with the governor, is this all worth it right now?
I did not make the battle with the governor.
The Border Patrol checkpoint here leading into Aravaca is classified as temporary, but it's been here for 7 years to stop illegal immigration and to curb drug smuggling. But many residents here in Aravaca, they say more than anything else, it's a hassle. And they say that it violates their constitutional rights. ¿Y qué piensas sobre eso?
Pienso que...
You can see the smoke in the distance all the way to the south, and then it moves along the riverbed. We are standing in a roadway. It looks, though, like the bank of a river. Just take a look, and this water has receded a little bit. In just this one Mesa apartment complex, we've counted at least half a dozen trees completely uprooted. You can feel the tension building here. On one side of the police line, anti-Islam protesters with guns, and on this side, protesters advocating for peace and love. Her parents aren't saying much about what may have happened to Kayla. Police have been out here for about 5 hours trying to investigate why a man called police for help and then allegedly shot at those officers. According to the state of Arizona, Farley is not a registered bounty hunter, and documents we dug up show that he has a criminal past. Sex with a minor, that's a Class 6 felony, and it's that felony that would get him denied if he did apply to be a registered bounty hunter.
Jessica.
Troy, Ruth Alvarez has a scheduled mastectomy in less than 2 weeks. That's for April 23rd. She was planning on facing the big surgery with her children and her husband by her side. Then she got arrested. Alvarez tells me she's willing to pay for her crime, but she's asking to be released to fight cancer first. Ruth Alvarez says breast cancer has been her personal prison. Now she's facing it behind bars.
Go through breast cancer is already hard. It's so hard. Go to treatments, see how your whole body, your whole life gonna change.
Alvarez, an undocumented immigrant, is in jail for using someone else's identification. She was arrested for the charges last September, but she says Immigration and Customs Enforcement released her so she could get chemotherapy. Now she's back in jail for the same charges, this time facing prosecution from the Maricopa County Attorney.
I know it was wrong, but at the time, I only used it to get a job.
Before her arrest, Alvarez scheduled a life-saving mastectomy. Less than 2 weeks away from that procedure, she's asking to be released while she undergoes the surgery and recovers with her family by her side.
If they want to come back and get me, it's fine. I just want to be out with my family for those days.
Ruth Alvarez has been here at the Stray jail since April 1st. She eats the same food, faces the same conditions as any other inmate. Her lawyer is asking the county attorney to release her for humanitarian reasons.
Arizona has a statute of limitations of 7 years. What is the concern to prosecutor at this moment in such a very difficult health state?
Alvarez says doctors in jail tell her she will still get her mastectomy at some point, but her supporters say facing the surgery and recovery alone and in jail is punishment greater than the crime.
If you don't have the support of nobody and you're lonely in a bed or tired all the time with a handcuffs on, I don't think it's gonna help. A spokesperson for County Attorney Bill Montgomery says they will not comment on the case. Montgomery did take to Twitter to respond to Alvarez's lawyer. He tweeted, quote, "As an attorney, you know a prosecutor does not have the authority to detain anyone. Alvarez's attorney tells me he wants to negotiate with prosecutors so Alvarez can face charges after her surgery." I'm Jessica Flores, Fox 10 News.
All right, we're hearing from Governor Jan Brewer for the first time since 5 CPS workers spoke out, making allegations that her hand-picked director of CPS was aware that more than 6,000 child abuse and neglect cases were not being investigated. And they want to know, why did they get fired and he's still there? Jessica Flores here now with the governor's response to all of that. What'd you learn, Jessica?
Troy, the governor told me she's worked to rectify the CPS failure. She says now the right people are in the right place to get the state moving forward. But the fired CPS workers would disagree. At an unrelated event today, I asked the governor if these women are what they say they are.
the scapegoats to a much larger problem. 5 Child Protective Services managers, now fired, say they're taking the fall for the agency's failure to investigate more than 6,000 child abuse cases since 2009. Their former boss, though, keeps his job.
Those fired employees say they're scapegoats. Do you have anything to say to them?
Thank you very much. We need to get...
They believe they're scapegoats. Do you have anything to say to them?
Go this way.
Governor Jan Brewer wouldn't answer the allegations. The fired women say they were directed to mark reports NI for not investigated to manage a crippling caseload.
Why are we the only 5 that are fired? There are people that are still in the agency that have put their names on NIs and nothing has happened to them.
Department of Economic Security Director Clarence Carter oversaw CPS at the time. The governor has since made CPS a standalone agency, but Carter's job hasn't changed, and the governor hasn't asked him to resign.
There has been nothing linking Mr. Carter to the negligence that took place over at DES.
A lot of people say he should have known about what happened, given that he was the head. What do you say to that?
You know, people can say a lot of things. Bottom line is that, you know, sometimes the captain of a ship doesn't know if the bathroom's working properly or not. You're counting on those people around you to bring information to you. You can't possibly, agency as large as DES, know every piece of it and what's happening 24/7.
Do you think you should have known?
The governor never answered that question. The fired employees say they aren't the rogue workers they're made out to be, but instead the latest casualties in a massive problem.
We devoted our lives to Arizona CPS, and this is the repayment that we get.
Now, the fired CPS workers say they are gearing up for possible legal action, both to restore their reputation and to regain employment with the state. It's basketball practice at Red Mountain High School.
Let's go, come on, Red.
And once again, senior Kyle Johnson is on the sideline, supporting his team.
I'm almost as a cheerleader, and of course a very good supporter, because no matter what, if people need help, I'll be there, no matter what. Where's the help?
He's the team manager, but for these players,
1, 2, 3, family.
More like the team spirit.
After a tough loss, after a bad practice, Kyle's always the voice of the things that went well, the positive things.
Keeping positive despite all the obstacles. Kyle was born with bilateral club feet. Then as a young child, doctors diagnosed him with autism.
We were told that he probably would not be able to walk or run.
But Kyle defied the odds. And when senior night rolled around, he thought he'd now take a turn on the court.
He asked me, what do you think about me dressing up for the game? I said, it's a great idea.
Kyle's father shot this video. The ball is passed. Kyle misses, but then he tries again.
Kyle told me that he was waiting for this his whole life. All he wanted was, in my opinion, just one little sliver of what the other young men have.
Kyle not watching from the sideline, but in the middle of it all. The team he loves, loving him right back. The moment when the basketball manager became the basketball star.
I was dreaming about becoming myself a basketball player, and now my dream has just come true.
Kyle scored 2 points for his team's points he says he'll never forget. Reporting live, I'm Jessica Flores, Fox 10 News.
Love that story, Jess.